for the beta build inserted into my CD DVD drive. I'm just going to run it through setup. So the first thing that we'll see after setup starts is I can go in and I can check for updates for the installation. And I'll select to do that and install those updates. The next thing that we'll do is we'll restart setup again after those updates have been installed. And what we'll see is first the licensing agreement, and I'll accept in this case. And then we will move on to the installation type. Now I can't select upgrade here because I'm on a Windows XP machine. I'll be selecting a clean install. Now the important thing is here is that all of my old data will stay in a folder called windows.old by default. So unless I do advanced partitioning and clean the disk, all of my old data will stay in that windows.old folder and I will still have a clean install. Okay, so after Windows 7 installed, now I've got a Windows 7 operating system. If I look at my files, I've basically got none of my documents that were carried over from the previous OS, but I did, however, create a windows.old directory, which actually contains all of my documents, my user accounts for administrator, for myself, Jeremy. The files are still there, and if I want to move those files out, I've got a couple of options. Now I can either move from windows.old and basically use copy-paste or a file move and move them into the user accounts of Windows 7. That's one way of doing it. You'll see a lot of prompts for permissions to write files, etc. if you try to copy directly from your user accounts into the Windows 7 user folders, and your application settings won't necessarily migrate from those user accounts into Windows 7, nor will the accounts themselves migrate from the old computer and the old operating system instance into the new computer. So in order to get around that, what we've produced is a tool called the User State Migration tool. Now this has been around for a long time. Basically is the means for enterprises to move user state, user data off their machine, typically to a network share, and then back down to the computer when finished. Now, User State Migration tool is part of the Windows Automated Installation Kit, and that you can find on the Download Center on Microsoft.com. So if you go to Microsoft.com/downloads, and just do a search for Windows AIK or Windows Automated Installation Kit, you will find this site. Now, here you would download the ISO file and install from the ISO file the Windows Automated Installation Kit. And once you're finished, what you'll end up creating is a program files folder for Windows AIK, and in the tools folder, you'll see that there's USMT folder there that contains the bits for the User State Migration tool. So what I can do now is actually create a process using the User State Migration tool and a feature called Offline Hard Link Migration to migrate the files and settings out of Windows.old and populate them automatically into the Windows 7 full operating system. So USMT is a command line scriptable tool